Good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Before Coffee. It's Friday. Happy Friday, everyone. Welcome to our Friday news dump, in which we're going to tell you all the things you need to know about before the weekend, so you don't have to worry about it. That's right. No doom scrolling. No checking out what that person that you hate said about things that you don't want to hear about. Just have a good weekend, enjoy your life, and do something that makes you happy. Unless it is, I guess, trolling people on Facebook. This is the first and only international game show, Before Coffee, a father and daughter news podcast, where we look up our stories right before the show starts. We just got coffee in our bodies, and we're learning to read and speak live on stream. Let's get into those Friday headlines, and spin that segue wheel.
Do it.
Today on the Friday's news dump, sex workers of Montreal are on strike during the weekend of the Grand Prix.
Whoa. And more news dumps. Global bonds tumble as inflation scares away investors, and CBS sends their anchorman to the wrong country.
PCOS has a new name. Pauline Doctrine Metabolic Ovarian Syndrome, or PMOS. Here's what to know about why it's been changed.
And while the rest of the news media is ignoring the Epstein files, we're going to continue to report as the Epstein victims, the Epstein survivors testify before Congress in Florida.
In my culture news, lost 9th century manuscript containing earliest English poem found in a Rome library.
That's right, and it's National Pizza Party Day today. It wasn't yesterday, so don't feel cheated by your employer. Get to that pizza party, get them extra slices. Make sure you sprinkle on all them extra peppers and the cheese and everything. Get everything you can for free. It's the only thing you're getting this year for May 15th, 2026 on Before Coffee. The party money. What do we got in special services for?
We're such great employers that we give our writers 2 days of pizza parties. Like yesterday was pizza party day and today, so
yeah,
just pat ourselves on the back, you know.
We don't actually
You're
buy
welcome,
a pizza.
Everyone.
We fly the pizza flag for 2 days. That's what we do.
The pizza flag.
Extra pepper, and we sing the pepperoni anthem. Hey, all hail the mighty pepperoni sausage and double cheese. Don't forget that.
Double cheese. Let's roll our segue wheel for our first story.
We haven't called out our writer's room in a while.
We should do it every Friday. But Friday is already long enough, I guess. It takes about 10 minutes.
Doesn't take that long. Doesn't take that long. Takes about a minute and a half.
The segue is sarcasm. For my first and only story in this section, we're going to talk about a strike in Montreal, not by, I don't know, transportation or the trash people, the sanitary workers. No, it's the sex workers that are going in strike during the week of the Grand Prix. This was published yesterday on the 14th of May. Sorry, I don't remember what day it's been. I have too much stuff in my brain to remember the number. The 14th of May, out of the Canadian Press. The workers and sex workers of Montreal called a general strike during the weekend of the Grand Prix of Canada. The Committee Independent of Sex Work has indicated that their demands include the removal of the cost of presents that the dancers have to pay for every evening to work in the clubs. So basically they're paying in order to dance on stage. The obtaining of labor protections and the decriminalization full of sex work by the federal government, so they can't get in trouble for being sex workers. During the strike scheduled for Saturday and May 23rd, some people will refuse to pay the cost of presents, while others will not take any clients. It is unclear how many of the women workers and sex workers will go on strike participation is voluntary. A dancer in Montreal called Kit works full-time in the clubs of stripping. I translate this from French, so some of the translation is like very literal. Stripper club. A dancer in Montreal in a strip club named Kit, who works full-time for 3 years, says that she's trying to avoid the chaos of the Grand Prix and the influx of tourists that it causes. The weekend of the Formula One takes place this year from the 22nd to 24th of May. So it's not this weekend, but it's going to be next weekend. But they've put out their demands this week. They're like, hey, you got 1 week to figure out what you're doing. Because I think sex work is a huge tourist influx. I mean, it's not like people are going there for the sex work, but I'm sure it rotates a lot of money. Because even sex workers have to buy groceries, okay? Even they have to, go to the, buy stuff. They buy stuff, okay? They're not just keeping all the money in a little money hole and it's not getting rotated. Yeah, everyone buys stuff.
We're not necessarily sure they spend it right away and they spend it locally, but they do buy stuff.
She explained that the weekend of the Grand Prize is a period lucrative for club managers. Oh, so the club makes a lot of money, but the girls working in the club or the men working the clubs do not. The dancers don't make as much money. At least that's what she's saying. Who engage in more dancers than usual, and they're charged up to $110 per service. But I don't think the dancers are getting a part of that cut, I think. She added that in this clubs, customers are forced to buy alcohol, but not to pay for the dance of the girls. Sometimes you end up in the red because you paid more to work with that than we win in the end, told Kit, adding that some property owners increase the cost of the bar during the weekend of the Grand Prix. Nobody should have to pay to work, especially if you do not pay, she argued. Kit believes that Canada learns from the state of Washington, which was adopted in 2024, a law known as the Charter of the Rights of the Dancers. This has created a safer working condition for people working in the adult entertainment industry and has capped the charge of the bar. You can't charge your dancers more than they make in the night, they just end up owing you money. Wait a minute, that sounds like really convenient for a bar owner. The Committee Independent of Sex Works has indicated that the strike of May 23rd is the opportunity to threaten such an income of the owners and clubs and other establishments for adults and hit them where it hurts the most. Yeah, good luck having anybody going to your strip bar when you have no strippers. Wow, looks like you need us after all. According to the Commission of Health and Safety of the Work, most of the labor protections apply to employees, but not to the self-employed. They're considered gig workers, so they don't get any of the protections the government should provide them. Many dancers and sex workers who would work in massage parlors are not paid a salary and are considered self-employed, even if they are and their employer who set up their schedules. That sounds a lot like something here in the Netherlands, which we have 0-hour contracts is what they're called. And basically, because you're on a 0-hour contract, you don't have any worker protections either, right? You're neither a part-time worker or a full-time worker. You're a 0-hour. You're just contracted, and they can just pay you and do whatever they want with you. And then you're like, well, at least I get money sometimes. If sex workers are sick, they draw on their own savings to take leave. If the dancers stumble on uneven ground with their heels of 20 inches and fall off a bar, they do not benefit from any social protections, testified Kit. Well, you don't even get workers' comp. Feels bad. Bell GP Canada, the promoter of the Grand Prix of Canada, was invited by the Canadian press to support the Canadian press to comment on the strike and the allegations that the race weekend draws to Montreal more tourists in search of sexual services. GP Canada is firmly opposed to all forms of sexual exploitation, violence, and harassment. Well, just because you're a sex worker doesn't mean you're exploiting sex. I know what they're saying, but I don't think that's what they mean. And support the initiative of local authorities to combat this problem, wrote the spokesperson Jeff Lambert in an email. These poor women are victims. Some people go into sex work because they like it, but I know Jeff's never met anyone like that. The strikes also went to draw attention to the fact that the federal government has not fully decriminalized sex work. In Canada, it is not illegal to sell sex services, but the purchase of sexual services and the management of brothels are criminal offenses. Lena Rosanov offers sexual services in a massage parlor in Montreal, which lies in a gray area. Ms. Rosanov can work legally, but its customers and the owners of saloons are seen as criminals. She emphasized that she will strike during the weekend of the F1. It is estimated that decriminalization would help her massage parlor to have better control of their customers. As in the principle, they are breaking the law. They don't ask the clients to present a piece of identification or register before they buy their services. So if you do a crime in their establishment, they don't know who you are and you can get away with it. Yay! Protect the criminals who abuse sex workers instead of just making it easier for... The reason I'm against this is because of this idea that one of the longest jobs in human history, because it really is probably the oldest job in human history, even before jobs were a concept, is just treated as some immoral thing. Like, no one's sitting there and acting like... I know there's people out there. There's people... I mean, I wouldn't pay for a sex worker myself. Right? But that doesn't mean that you can tell the entire society to do it when you already know they are doing it. They're going to do it. And if you open... And this is the same thing we see with OnlyFans, right? When you give people the power to regulate themselves and be protected from themselves, you see an entire healthier dynamic in the industry than, oh, let me hide in this corner in this alleyway. Boy, I hope somebody doesn't mug me and stab me because I'm a sex worker and nobody's gonna care if I get killed in the alleyway, right? If you're allowed to stand on the main street, not saying that there should be brothels on the main street, I'm just saying if you're allowed to stand out in the public and be like, I'm a sex worker, don't assault me because I can call the police on you. People are safer. The people who are buying the sex work and the sex workers themselves. And of course, I'm speaking from a place where they legalize sex work. So it's been proven, at least in a broad study, right? If you study all the sex work that's happening in the Netherlands, you get people who are definitely brought here illegally, right? They don't know the laws and the rights they have. They think they're in another country where it's illegal and they have to hide and they have to get abused by a pimp. But there's been many stories, because I even went to a museum about this, the Museum of Prostitution. There have been many stories about women who are brought here from like Eastern Europe. They've been getting abused by their pimp, and then they go, wait a minute, I have the right to go to the police, say I'm a sex worker and my pimp has trafficked me here and is abusing me, and I can get legal rights to like get them in trouble or maybe, get myself safe. They're allowed to do that because they decriminalize sex work here. So it only makes people safer on both sides of it. That's my argument on sex work. Anyways, continue the story. She wants to take advantage of insurance coverage of incidents occurring in the workplace. That's also true, right? You can get your entire establishment attacked, which can include harassment, violations of consent, assault, as well as paid leave. The main issue is safety, says Ms. Rosenoff. Majority of customers are honest, but some of them can behave in a dangerous manner, and we have no protection. It says that she would like to see spaces where sex workers could work together safely without fear of prosecution. We are not just victims exploited by pimps, she said. Yeah, yet again, a lot of people like to do sex work. I know it's a crazy concept, but there's some people just enjoy doing it. Valerie Scott is fighting for decades for the decriminalization of sex work. One more paragraph and then we'll be done. It has been argued that the law criminalizes the income of those who sell sexual services and grows in the underground. Ms. Scott and two other sex workers have challenged the laws on prostitution in 2007. In 2013, the Supreme Court of Canada struck down the Criminal Code provision prohibiting the bawdy houses, soliciting in public for purpose of prostitution, and living on the earnings of prostitution. So they are getting some progress done. The court was in the view that the laws of the country had resulted in harm to workers and sex workers in breach of their security rights guaranteed by the Charter. We have the right to work and not be attacked. Yeah, but you're sex workers, so you don't. Wait a minute, that's kind of unfair. Ms. Scott, who heads the Canadian Alliance for Reform of Laws on Sex Work, has pointed out that in response to the decision of the Supreme Court, the federal government passed new laws that are even worse. Oh, great. She is involved in a legal challenge of the current Canadian law on sex work and fully support the strike in Montreal. Why, as a society, do we insist that people who have sex for money are not worthy of protections of the work, worthy of physical protection? Questioned Ms. Scott. Christianity or something, religion probably. However, many mixed feelings among the workers and sex workers in Montreal on the strike. Some may not participate because they don't want to miss a weekend of making a huge profit. Others are afraid of being blacklisted and losing their only source of income. For its part, the Committee on the Sex Work has indicated he will continue to advocate for the rights in the work beyond the strike of May 23rd. I guess some people will have to move on to online services if they get blacklisted, which is really a shame. Not a lot of physicality in that. But there you go. A new story I would have never seen, like it was not on my feed, but Cal mentioned strikes in the New York City, and I was like, I wonder if there's any strikes happening this week. And here goes, sex worker strike. There's a strike happening. You're muted right now, so I can't hear you.
Major news media only wants you to know about what Trump's doing for some reason. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I had some sarcasm. Good to see them striking a blow for organized labor.
Hey,
and
that's
some more
also
sarcasm. Unfortunately, pure sarcasm is, unfortunately, the customers can cross the picket line by themselves alone in their hotel room. Because, that hurts fast. I don't need a sex worker tonight.
Just turn on HBO. Buy that extra HBO subscription there in your hotel room. Or Stars or whatever. Wherever they show the porn now. I don't know. I have no idea. I've never purchased porn on a hotel TV, so I have no idea what it actually is.
Why would you even have to do anything? If you got a phone, why would you even need to turn on the TV? That's the thing. It's like, why would you turn on your TV to access their you got a phone.
That's great.
You got a phone. You got a laptop or whatever. As long as they got Wi-Fi, what the hell I can't get porn. I don't think so. The internet was invented 5 minutes later. There was porn.
Yeah,
the internet was invented
I get
5 minutes
it.
later.
This
There
is
was
like
porn on it.
Yeah. I get it though, because like, for example, this is nothing to do with the sex industry, but there's people who love playing D&D, right? But they don't enjoy playing D&D if you have to do it over a Discord call, for example. They really like the physicality, right, of being there with people in a room, eating snacks, moving pieces over a piece of laminated cardboard, So I think, people who are like going to Montreal and being like, while I'm here, I'm gonna visit my favorite strip joint or whatever. They like that part, right? They like the physical interaction of being at a strip joint and not exactly.
Yeah, what's that dating app
Tinder?
called though? It's called Grindr.
Bumble?
Tinder, yeah, Tinder.
Grindr. Grindr's the
Grindr.
LGBT one, I guess.
Yeah, Grindr for gay,
Mostly gays,
Tinder for totally
everyone
not gay.
else, I guess.
Anyway, so what the hell? Why don't they just use those? I mean, you just get nymphomaniacs, right? Hey, nymphomaniac.
Grindr is a great place to just get a hookup. That's what I hear. I've never used Grindr, but I hear gay men are much more hookup culture than women are.
Yeah,
you're right.
Sex work should be regulated and legal, just like it is in Nevada and countries like Colombia. I'm just talking about places. Oh yeah, the Netherlands. So it's 3 places I've been in the world: Nevada, Colombia, and the Netherlands, where it's regulated and nobody gets venereal diseases or AIDS because you got a little card from the health department. Yeah. So
it also really it helps that you normalize getting yourself checked normally, anyways, and then everyone should be getting themselves checked. The frickin' Puritans and all their bullshit we still live with, trying to pretend that people don't have sex. Let's go ahead and keep doing that, huh? Hey. Babies, but don't have sex, please. Thank you.
Right. And by the way, the same assholes want to lower the age of consent to 14, and all of a sudden, the same assholes are like, sex is bad, but we want to lower the age of consent to 14. Oh, okay. What
are we consenting to with 14-year-olds exactly? Yeah, sex.
It's all
sex,
part of
guys.
They want to. They want to try you as an adult when you're 14 too. Don't forget that. And of course, they want you to be free labor the rest of your life. So there you go.
Woohoo! Cal says he's a bad gay, so he can't comment on Grindr. Well, I don't think that makes you a bad gay, but unless you mean like I'm bad, like that kind of bad.
Being gay and being heterosexual, there really is no difference. You're either going to be exploring or you're not going to be exploring, right? You're just either out there or you're not. And it's just, some people are cozy with one person and they're fine. That's just the way it is. They're monogamous. Some people are like, some people are like the French. Let's just call them French. All right. Anyway.
Cal says he's not bad as in he doesn't use Grindr. He's bad as in he's an old spinster with cobwebs, kind of bad as in he's tapped out of the market, I guess.
Right.
He's a lonely cow.
The Republican convention comes to town. That's too bad.
Just wait for a Republican convention.
Hey,
Anyways, our next segue. Let's roll that.
Republicans come to town. Grinder crashes every time. Their server is like, holy crap, look at all this traffic all at once. We can't take it.
That's what he said, I guess. Our next segue is metaphor and simile for your stories.
You got a metaphor. I got two stories about one inflation, one is about CBS being incompetent. We'll talk that one first. CBS News again. I have blocked CBS. I won't watch that channel ever again until they fire whoever is in charge there, get new leadership or whatever it requires. Either way, I'm not watching fascist news that's spoon-fed me. And by the way, they're not even competent at their jobs. It's one thing to be a fascist simp. It's another thing to be totally incompetent at it. As this is a story from Semaphore, I guess. I think other media's reported on New York Post, perhaps. CBS's Tony DeCopel, who is their anchor, to broadcast from Taiwan after failing to get China visa in time. Yeah, that's right. CBS is really on top of this. Hey, let's do a remote from China. Can't get there. Our anchor can't get there anyway. This is from Mark Tanney of Semaphore. More than a dozen CEOs, including top tech and finance leader, were invited to join Stinky the Clown on his visit to China this week. That's right. The country smelt better. Our air was cleaner for an entire 3 or 4 days because he was polluting their air instead. He took along with him Apple's Tim Cook, or Tim Apple, as Stinky calls him, Elon Musk, who is avoiding appearing in his trial. He probably should be a warrant for his arrest by now. And Goldman Sachs' David Solomon. Goldman Sachs, of course, investment bankers. Investment bankers are just grifters. That's all they are. They don't provide any service to anybody. They just make things, they make money out of nothing. And then it turns into nothing magically overnight at one point. That's what they do. They're little flim-flam artists. Anyway, Goldman Sachs' David Solomon, along with the CEOs of Boeing and agricultural giant Cargill, the U.S. is likely to announce a deal to China to buy more Boeing jets and American soybeans. Yeah, whatever. Who gives a shit? Trump is just going to get taken to the woodshed like he is in every meeting because he doesn't know how to negotiate anything. He's a moron. Not all of the invited executives may up attending. Cisco said the CEO, Chuck Robbins, won't make it because of his earnings this week. Because of earnings this week? Okay, whatever, CEO Chuck Robbins. Don't have a telephone, apparently. Trump had stoked a sense of corporate FOMO among executives through offhands and comments about the trip. What the hell is FOMO? I don't know what the hell these idiots are
Feeling
talking
of
about.
missing out. Feeling of missing out.
Okay. Oh yeah,
that's why it's in caps because it's out.
You miss out on smelling Trump's shit-filled diaper, right? I suppose. NVIDIA's CEO, another fascist AI company, CEO Jensen Huang, did not get an invite because the White House wants to focus more on agriculture and aviation. Reuters reported NVIDIA has become a major geopolitical bargaining chip between the two superpowers. Washington's most recently eased expert controls on some of NVIDIA's most high-powered jets, of course, because they got bribed. Also absent from the invite last year are oil and gas CEOs as the global energy sector feels the squeeze from Iran war-related supply disruptions. Instead, Stinky invited companies that would benefit broadly. Blah, 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 blah. We're not even talking about CBS. What the fuck is this? This whole fucking story is not even about CBS at all. Didn't even mention them. What the hell are you doing? All right. The headline has nothing to do with the story. Really. It's nothing even mentioned in this story about him. Let me see if they cut it up. Let's do this. Yeah, I don't want you to send me notifications. Sorry. All right, let's get to the rest of the story because they cut it off. The CBS News anchor Tony DeCopel will broadcast from Taipei, Taiwan, which is an island off the coast of China, of course, failing to obtain a visa from China in time. A stumble in the network's efforts to play a leading role in this week's dominant global story. I guess it's not. It's only dominant because you made it dominant, assholes. By the way, American broadcasters are planning extensive coverage from the Chinese capital this week because they are sycophants to Trump and they want to make him seem even more important, right? NBC News' Tom Lamas, who I never heard of. All these guys look the same, by the way. They look like the same guy that were churned out from a news anchor clone factory. Tom Lamas and ABC News' David Muir. CBS appears to have planned a similar coverage, but was forced to change course at the last minute on the CBS, planning a call Wednesday to discuss plans for the couple to broadcast from Taiwanese capital, Taipei, according to the person on the call. 2 people have been briefed on the issue, with the couple saying they had not been able to get a Chinese visa, though it is unclear whether the block came from a late application or another issue. Okay, there was a block on it. CBS News declined to comment on the Chinese embassy in Washington, didn't respond immediately to the inquiry, while the couple is not in Beijing. That's kind of funny. The setback comes as CBS News, already in 3rd place, has continued to see its ratings slide. Yeah, there's no room to go down. Guess again, there's still room. The network strategy has been shaped by its political and business interests of the Ellison family, which is a bunch of Australian fascists, which depends on Trump's blessing to compete merger with Warner Media. And executives cast is not... The executive cast is not as a rightward move, but it seek a wider center. Complete horseshit. You're doing it to capitulate to the fascists. Stop pretending you're a real news organization. So anyway, there's the real story, not the cover story of why Trump was there. We're going to focus on this and that. Who cares what Trump says? Really? His words don't have any meaning, because it doesn't. You never know when he's telling the truth or telling a lie. He's on a 15-year gish gallop. You all just keep acting like what he says is important. Anyway, there's my story on the absolute disgrace that the Trump administration is, and the absolute disgrace that CBS News is. So
yeah.
Let's have us a mixed metaphor about not reporting accurate news.
I don't think that's what I wrote my metaphor on, but...
Okay, it's an accurate metaphor, sorry.
CBS News is like a broken compass, constantly spinning in confusion. Oh, we got lost. We're in Taipei now. I mean, Taiwan.
Yeah, the broken compass is not...
It's the same place, right?
Yeah, broken compass isn't like a broken clock. It's never right. It's not right twice a day like a broken clock. It's just never right. That's north. No, it isn't. It's just pointing at a magnet in a room or something.
Yeah, a very strong electromagnet. Okay, yes, you have another story, right?
Yes. No, just a piece of iron near you. Did I not read the story? Yes. Global bond market. Global bonds tumble as flaring inflation spooks investors. From Amanda Cooper from Reuters. Yes, Trump's not only screwing our economy, he's screwing everybody's. Because, hey, everybody depends on oil too much. And all the other shit we get from the Middle East. Don't forget that. The global bond market limped into the end of the bruising week on Friday. A growing evidence of economic damage from the Iran war prompted investors to assume interest rates will rise faster than expected and growth will suffer. The U.S. Treasury yields hit their highest in around a year as traders anticipated the Federal Reserve may need to hike rates to rein in inflation. Yeah, Stinky's going to appoint a new Federal Reserve chairman, and that Federal Reserve chairman is going to look at inflation and go, we can't lower rates now. Because that's the only thing we have to fight inflation. You know what I'm saying? That's the only thing we have to stimulate the economy is cutting interest rates, but they're afraid of cutting interest rates will cause inflation, which it does sometimes. Eurozone bonds, including German, Italian, and French, came under fire, along with UK gilts, GILTs. It's got to be some kind of a security bond of some sort I'm not familiar with. While Japanese bond yields hit record highs, Italian 10-year bonds were in the worst performance with yields up 7.4 basis points, around 3.86, bringing the rise up to nearly 14 BPS. BPS, not sure what that means. While benchmark German bond yield rose almost 6 BPS.
Bund, probably Bund, because it's German. Yeah.
Bund, yeah.
Maybe Bond? Or they said it wrong. They just mistyped it and it's supposed to be Bond.
I know it's not bits per second. I wanted BPS. I have to figure out what that is.
Bonds per second.
Bond point surge. Bond point something. Inflation data was this week has grown. Consumers and businesses are starting to see big increase in price pressures as a result of war, which is unnecessary, which has pushed up the price of crude by more than 50%. Two-year yields, which are most sensitive to changes in expectations for inflation, have risen for most sharply this week, but yields on longer-dated bonds have started to increase as well. Yeah, them 20-year bonds, the ones that mature in 20 years. You know what you mean? Bonds are like this. You buy a $100 bond for $50 and it will mature in 20 years. It's guaranteed to mature. It's one of them things that they have to do it or they will be sued into oblivion. Global yields have probably become to the point of where they're high enough to hurt sentiment between this resilient global market power, AI built out, and elevated energy prices. Central banks are probably more worried about inflation. You buy bonds as a hedge against inflation. That's why you do it. And bond yields are paying high. Damn, 4.5. 4.5, inflation's 3.8. I can stay ahead of inflation. That's how that works. And so, yeah. And of course, they play the long game, a lot of these guys. The 10-year gilts, I guess is another name for bonds. In the UK, gilt yields have been on a roller coaster ride this week, hitting the highest in decades of pressure mounts on Prime Minister Keir Starmer to resign. Again, here, let's just rearrange the deck chairs in another freaking government, right? These meaningless resignations have not fixed you in the history of forever, UK. So I don't understand this. Let's get a new guy who looks different. Okay, and? I just get a feeling about the UK. This is my feeling. Maybe it's wrong. It doesn't matter who's in government. They're never happy. They're just never fucking happy. And whoever's in, blame him for everything. And then replace him and then blame him for everything. The guy, what happened to Winston Churchill, for instance, right? Winston Churchill held them together, won World War II. What'd they do? They replaced them immediately. So,
well, he's also was only in there, like he came back during the war, right? He had already.
Well, I'm saying, yeah.
He had his time.
He was booted and he came back. But again, like I'm saying, the British, this is their history. They can't settle on any leader. They did this with kings. That's how they ended up with 4-year-old kings all the time, right? James the First was a baby, right? How can a baby be the leader of your country? He doesn't even know how to shit yet, Anyway. Benchmark 10-year gilts, which have risen by 20 BPS this week, were up another 11 points and 5.9%, while 10-year Japanese yields were up to 2.7, still not catching up to American inflation, but maybe Japan's inflation is a little bit lower. I wouldn't imagine it would be. They do depend on a lot more imports than we do. They don't have a lot of land.
Yeah, they're on island. They're on island.
Yep. Either way, maybe they just took some real important steps to lower inflation. Everything's local in all these places, so maybe they're just stepped up all their Japanese city gardens. Have more gardens in the cities, which most cities should do. There's your fun little global bond market. When they say
we learned some new words today, like FOMO.
Right. FOMO and guilt.
And God, the word guilt. Me? Guilty? The once sturdy bonds of the globe tremble like an ancient bridge, creaking under the weight of a very heavy orange. That's an allegory for you.
Oh, nice. I got to figure out what BPS is, too. Nice allegory.
We're learning all sorts of things to get today.
Yeah, I hate this. Bits per second is BPS. I know that, but that's not what it is.
No.
It's bond points. It's got to be bond points something. A basis point, or called a BIP. All right, there you go.
Okay, basis point per second. So.
No.
No? Oh.
It's just basis points. That's all it means.
Points.
BPS means basis point. That's it. They
what does that mean? Just a dip? A dip in the graph?
It's a financial unit of measurement. In other words, it's like a reference, a point of reference. It's like decibels. It has no real intrinsic value unless it's applied to something that already existed.
Yeah.
So,
like this is 0 decibels, and this is plus 12. This is minus 12.
It can only be a reference. It can't be an actual measurement. like an inch.
Well, you can.
An inch is an actual.
I thought you could actually measure decibels though. Like you get like a little thing out, and then it goes, "This is 12 best decibels loud."
Compared to a reference.
Oh yeah, well, I guess
That
you have to calibrate your machinery somewhere, your tool, your measurement tool on something. Yeah, that's true. I agree with you.
dB is a reference, right? There's dBW, dBm, dBi, dBv, decibels, voltage, decibels. There's different measures of dB. Decibels is just what they decided to call sound, but that's just dBw. Not exactly sure what it's. dBu, it might be.
It's lowercase d, max b.
Yeah.
I never put a W.
Lowercase d, uppercase b, right. That stands for dB, not necessarily decibels.
Yeah.
I think it's dB small u is sound, right?
Or like the weird U, like units, where it has like a little tail at the bottom. The German U.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or the mathematics scientific U for units.
No, it's yeah. dBu is dBu is the electrical voltage in audio equipment, exactly. Not the sound pressure in the air. So there you go.
Oh, so it's electrical. That's cool. There you go. We learned about bonds and sound. Yay! We love learning here on Before Coffee.
Zero dBu equals 0.7575 volts RMS, and RMS is simply not peak to peak. It's the effective voltage, like AC voltage, right? Has a peak up here and has a peak down here, right? But most of that peak is right. Most of that peak is clipped for DC voltage, and the RMS is what's left. Root means square. That's what RMS means. So it's got a big old sine wave, but RMS is just that voltage in the meat,
in the middle,
not the
the meat of it,
in the middle. Yeah. Right, so that is RMS voltage. It's not the effective. Like you're going to have 115, but RMS is going to be like 80, right?
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, there's your fun
maybe
little.
You should have been a sound. Maybe you can be the sound engineer for this show.
No,
because I don't care about it. Sound engineer.
Knowing DBs doesn't help you be a sound engineer. Yeah, does that sound good? Are you getting feedback? That's all that matters.
Well, I think there's something. Okay, we got sarcasm again. Let's re-roll. You're sarcastic enough. We don't need to get double sarcasm.
No more. Yeah, let's.
We'll give you tell a joke.
Blowing their big chance. Tell a joke.
Our next story is actually about something that is not very humorous, especially if you have the problem, PCOS. Which is something that happens mostly in the uterus, but I think can affect the whole area around the uterus and even like your ovaries and your, I guess, fallopian tubes. Oh, the whole sex organ that is usually found in female bodies. There's a PCOS, has a new name, Polyendocrine Metabolic Ovarian Syndrome. I probably said that first word wrong during the headline because I was like, huh? It's from Dr. Katie Spaulding on IFL Science. So it's going to be very scientific, guys. Get ready for a lot of words I don't know how to pronounce. Polycystic ovarian syndrome, a hormonal disorder affecting as many as 1 in 8 women. That's a lot of people. Has a new name. Polyendocrine Metabolic Ovarian Syndrome, or PMOS. Also, I would like to use not gendered because there's people who are not women who have ovaries, but it's a change that comes from a decade of research into the condition, as well as a dedicated international push to improve the understanding and recognition of its effects. Oh, you don't have PCOS. You're just feeling you have a fever, and then you die of a freaking whatever sepsis or something. It happens all the time. People ignore PCOS for the longest time. Then it's you have massive cells growing in your body. Oh, why didn't anybody notice this? Renaming this condition is more than semantics, said Melanie Cree, a pediatric endocrinologist at the University of Colorado Anschutz, and one of the more than a dozen experts involved in the name change. In a statement released by the university, it's about finally recognizing the full reality of what patients experience. Language matters in medicine, Cree said. The previous name often led to misconceptions and stigma. particularly around fertility. This change helps shift the conversation towards overall health rather than a single aspect of the condition. What is polyendocrine metabolic ovarian syndrome? Polycystic ovarian syndrome, PCOS, or to use its new name, PMOS, is one of those diseases that you only get diagnosed with as a last resort. It's kind of like we were talking about last week with the back condition you're talking about, or the neurological condition. They have to cancel everything else out, and then they say, "Oh, you must have this." PMOS has a more, they also have that kind of problem. There's no single test for it. Exactly, it's more of a description of a collection of symptoms that have no other explanation. Why are these all happening? It must be something caused by the ovaries. The condition is diagnosed based on fibromyalgia. The condition is diagnosed based on adults, meeting at least 2 of the following international guideline criteria: oligoanovulation, clinical or biochemical hyperandrogenism, and polycystic ovaries on ultrasound, or elevated anti-Mullerian hormone. Great! What does that mean? Oligoanovulation. That sounds like when you ovulate too much. Like you just make too many eggs at one time. Angio. Okay, I guess I'll look up the Dutch one, and then I'll just... Oh no, I can't translate this. This is a PDF document. I need somebody to tell me what it is. What is oligoovulation? Is that when you ovulate multiple times a month? Oh, that sounds awful. What is exactly? Irregular, it's the opposite. You cause irregular or infrequent periods. While women with an average menstrual cycle typically have periods every 28 to 32 days, people with oligoovulation generally have 8 or fewer periods each year. This happens because ovaries release eggs less frequently, making it harder to predict when ovulation will occur. That's me. I guess I must have this syndrome, I guess.
Sure.
Clinical or I haven't had a period in months. I can't remember the last time I had a period. Clinical or biochemical, not that I'm complaining. What is clinical biochemical hyperandrogenism? That sounds like you don't get enough hormones, so then you're kind of androgynous. So yeah, you have too much testosterone in your body, so, or I should say you get higher levels of testosterone than you should, and then you have more maybe male looking features than female looking features. You might start growing a beard, for example. And then polycystic ovaries or ultrasound on okay, polycystic ovaries are just cysts on your ovaries, which I think my mom got a lot. Getting a bunch of little cysts on your ovaries. Yeah. Not very nice. Does not feel good. So I've heard. I don't know if I've ever had one. And then anti-Mullerian hormone, also known as Mullerian inhibiting factor MIF, is a protein that is in humans is encoded by a gene. It belongs to blah blah blah. Can you tell me what it does? That's the problem with when you read science papers, they give you a bunch of info. It's transforming the growth factor. Inhibin. Okay, so it's one of the things that controls sex differences. So yet again, another thing that causes you to look more androgynous, right? You lose some of your female features, I guess, female characteristics. You look more like a male characteristic, so to say. Anyways, so if you have 2 of those things, or all three of those things, you probably have PMOS. But that's not a real test. It's just saying, you have these symptoms, you might have it. The new paper outlining this new rationalization for the name change has said, adolescents aged 10 to 19 require the presence of only the first 2 criteria, because most adolescents 10 to 19, for the most part, right, depending in your age range, you don't have as much sex characteristics as you would as an adult. So they can't use that one as an option.
The original.
Blah, 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 blah. Got a bunch of ads I have to scroll through. Okay. In simpler terms, this means disordered ovulation, whether infrequent or irregular, entire absent, often experienced as missed periods despite no pregnancy, higher levels than normal of male hormones in the body, which can be diagnosed either clinically through symptoms like excess body hair, acne, and oily skin. I do have a lot of acne. This is just like when you read like med whatever. What is that called? MedMD or what is it called? When you go on like, oh, do I have cancer? This is me right now. Oh my God. But I don't think I have a higher level of male hormone, because otherwise I would be building. WebMD, that's what it's called. Yeah. This is me right now on WebMD, but I don't have any male hormone excess, because otherwise I'd have great upper body, which I have the opposite of great upper body.
Right.
Male pattern baldness, no male pattern baldness yet, and so on, or biochemically with a blood test, the presence of small fuel-filled sacs in your ovaries that ought to release eggs, but due to being underdeveloped, often can't, and then they just get really uncomfortable and it hurts. Now, already we're seeing the reason for the update. Despite it being right there in the name of the condition, there's actually no increase in abnormal cysts on the ovary, explained Helena Teed, director of the Monash Center for Health Research and Implementation, an endocrinologist at the Monash Health, and the professor who led the name change process, in a statement released by Monash University. In fact, the condition isn't primarily gynecologist at all. This is much more broader. I mean, it sounds like it's much more endocrinologist, not gynecologist. Teed told The Guardian, one who affects are virtually all endocrine, hormonal. Your hormones are fucked up? Yay, your body hates you. People have been suffering from the condition known as PMOS for as long as there has been a human race. Longer, in fact. Rhesus macaques can suffer from it, suggesting that some experts that there's an evolutionary benefit developing the condition, or maybe there's an evolutionary fuck up. Why do we always think that something that we share with our cousins, or like our monkey cousins, means that it was good? Maybe it was fucked up and it just stayed. It's a bad mutation that just stayed for centuries. On an individual level, however, it can be highly distressing. First clinical description of PMOS, not the probable cases from the 18th century or antiquity, comes from the mid-19th century, when French doctor Achille Charoux described an acute ovaritis of the first degree, in which ovaries are enlarged in volume, elastic, with smooth and shiny surfaces containing many small cysts located on the periphery of the organ, as in on the outside, not in the inside, where you usually create your eggs. About 50 years later, a group of doctors published a case report of a cystic form of chronic ovaritis, a term that would join chronic ovaritis as a common name for the condition until the mid-1930s. This 1895 report was notable for mentioning a link to amenorrhea, which is missing menstrual periods, and infertility, but the detail will mostly be forgotten for the next half-century or so. Slowly, and boy do we mean slowly, this is a female-specific disease after all. Researchers and doctors started to unravel some of the nuances of the condition. Now we know that PMOS is a complicated metabolic and hormonal disease, strongly associated with insulin resistance and diabetes, and impacting a wide range of body systems. It can be profoundly distressing to live with, impacting your health, weight, fertility, and appearance in ways you may dislike or hate. And yet, partly because of that misleading name, the diverse features of the condition were often unappreciated, said Teed in Monash's statement. While Monash-led international guidelines have advanced awareness and care, she said, a name change was the next critical step towards recognition and improvements in long-term impacts of PMOS. For all that reason, the academics and clinicians have been arguing for an update to the terminology for decades. But this week's news is not just important for clinical and diagnostic viewpoint. It's also good for patients who can often be confused or dissatisfied with the limited description and focus on a condition's name. So instead of just saying, oh, my disease is irregular periods and cysts on my ovaries, instead this disease is saying, my disease is my hormones are fucked up. And it causes stuff. What makes sex hormone? The ovaries. So the ovaries are messed up and they're making the wrong hormone or making too much testosterone, and that's causing an imbalance in your period. And rather unusually for an update to medical nomenclature, it was they who actually are the ones pushing for the change in the first place. This is not just an idea from a few experts, which is how it used to happen, Teed told The Guardian. We used to never consider patients' perspectives when we changed the name. The adoption of polyendocrine metabolic ovarian syndrome, however, comes in part from the perspectives of thousands of people diagnosed with the condition, as well as thousands more from doctors and other health professionals. The efforts here are unprecedented, Teed said. Nobody's put this much effort in a name change ever. at least as far as they've recorded, to make sure a diverse range of voices were heard. Multiple workshops were held online with respondents from people around the world. It was considered essential that the new name was scientifically correct, but also considered across diverse cultural contexts, explained Terry Hiltonen, an international co-lead from the Oulu University and Oulu University Hospital, Finland, in a statement from Monash, for example, to avoid such reproductive terms that could heighten stigma and be harmful for women in some countries. Reminder that some people think because you had PCOS that you would not be able to get pregnant, which is not how that works. And that would be a really bad way, right? If you're trying to go through fertility treatments and you give yourself way too much hormones, for example, when you need to be looking at what your hormones are doing right now under PMOS. This made culturally international informed consultation critical to getting it right. So the changeover is happening, or already happened, on May 12th at the 28th European Congress of Endocrinology in Prague, but it won't be fully implemented until 2028. I mean, it's a big globe, everyone. And that's when the international guidelines already used in 195 countries are set to be updated. Until then, a detailed implementation plan has already been deployed, with a team behind the name change aiming to disseminate academic and clinical literature and engage international bodies such as the World Health Organization. With the new name, the researchers hope to clarify a long underappreciated and misunderstood illness, providing clarity for patients and professionals alike. What makes this effort especially powerful is that it reflects the voices of thousands of patients and clinicians from around the world, said Cree. This renaming sets the foundation for meaningful change, from medical education to clinical guidelines to public awareness and ultimately better outcomes for patient care. So there you go. About all that stuff. And medical science. Yay, I learned so much, my brain's melting. Fuck hormones! Woo!
Okay, I had a joke like an hour ago. Let's see what we got here. Oh yes, it's Yogi Berra's birthday this week, so we're gonna quote Yogi Berra. It's not ovary until it's ovary. Okay, there's your joke.
Oh man.
Sorry, man. I can't joke about it. How do you even joke about this shit? So it's impossible. So next story.
Yeah, like I said, it was going to be a hard one to make a joke about, because it's like, hey, my body hates me and it's making the wrong hormones. Woo! And I'm suffering. Of course, men have similar stuff like this too. That's what prostate cancer causes, hormone imbalances as well. Which was the whole point of No Shave November, is to, make people aware of prostate cancer.
It's all a part of the big fade as you die, I guess. I don't know. Okay, let's do a spin so we can wrap the week up here, and I'll cut this story about down to 3 minutes, I think.
Give me a sec. Almond just sent a very long message in chat. So this makes me curious if endocrinologists are going to be at least partially trained on what was just strictly gynecologist procedures, such as the internal sonograms that are occasionally needed to view the ovaries from a different angle. I think what is going to happen here is, they might still have to do that stuff, but I feel like endocrinologists have the education to test your blood for your hormone levels, and they can probably not even have to do any sort of internal sonogram in order to get any information on your PMOS. They can probably just say,
they will do a blood
you have
test.
way too much testosterone in your blood. You have too much testosterone for a typical female in your blood. Let's give you like a testosterone lessener, and then hopefully that will improve your symptoms. Because I think most doctors, at least I can't speak for most doctors, they like to avoid doing too much stuff to your body. It would be nice to avoid getting things inserted inside of you. I've had an internal sonogram. It's not nice. Very uncomfortable. Our segue is a limerick.
We spin. Okay. Spin the wheel for a limerick. All right, you got to work now. Now you asked for something to do. Here you go. You got something to do.
I know. I'm always working during the show. What are you talking about?
And I sent you a video. So you want to start that video around 10 seconds. I wouldn't start it at the beginning. You don't want to see all like the music playing and stuff like that. It's already 5 minutes long. All right, we're going to go to Epstein files. We'll never forget this. We're not going to, this is from the Palm Beach Post, Palm Beach, Florida. Antonio Finns, Hannah Phillips, and Valentina Palm. Epstein survivors hearing concludes in West Palm. A longer story, but I'm going to cut it down drastically. Hearing ends with the focus back on Palm Beach County. Garcia, who is Garcia? They put a name at the start. It's somebody's name. Anyway.
Hello, my name's Garcia, and I'm in this story.
Yeah, again, they didn't put the person's name. They just said Garcia. Maybe there's some that Garcia is a member of Congress, and I will find his name somewhere. They just started the article. Garcia. Okay. Anyway, clearly Palm Beach, the U.S. Attorney's Office, somebody, the prosecutors that were involved in this case, law enforcement officials, these are all individuals. A lot of questions for the Democratic ranking member of the committee that is interviewing him. His name is Garcia. Maybe his name is in the article that is not turned into a reading pane, perhaps. Maybe there's a picture of him or something because, oh no, they decided that I just know who Garcia is. That's what they decided. I know who he is. I know who he is just from the execs. Let's do this again. Let's start it over. Democratic committee members are convening in West Palm Beach this morning for unofficial hearing into Jeffrey Epstein's sexual abuse. Organized by House Committee Democrats, the hearing began at 10 a.m. inside City Hall. This is a couple days ago. A stone's throw away from the courthouse where Epstein's, okay. Well, if you don't get the
start reading the wrong article again?
No, pop-up ads. Okay. Pop-up ads keep happening because I'm not in a reading pane because the reading pane cut off the first half of the story. The organizers have not released the names of those expected to testify. With little information they have shared suggest Democrats intend not only to platform survivors, but to pull Stinky the Clown's friendship with Epstein back into the spotlight, which they should. This is the reason why it's buried, after all. We're talking about this investigation to Epstein in Trump's backyard, said U.S. Rep. Robert Garcia of California, the committee's top.
There we go. That's who that is. We know who he is.
Now we're going to the reading pane. Yes, now we know who he is. We're going to the reading pane. Garcia thanked the survivors and advocates for their appearance. That's where we started the story. Clearly, Palm Beach, the U.S. Attorney's Office, somebody. Clearly, Palm Beach, the U.S. Attorney's Office, somebody, the prosecutors were involved in the case, law enforcement officials. These are all individuals we have a lot of questions for, a Democratic ranking member of the committee said. Garcia said the committee needs to fully understand why the county and the federal prosecutors failed. That includes a complete accounting for then U.S. Attorney Alec Acosta. He said, but also from the line prosecutors that are involved in making those recommendations. Palm Beach County will continue to be an important place for our investigation, Garcia said in closing, as we continue to explore and investigate the links between what is happening in Mar-a-Lago and, of course, Jeffrey Epstein. Frankel probed power Kennedy history. Somebody named Frankel. Frankel is somebody on the oversight committee, though not somebody in Congress, I guess. Again, we're just grabbing pieces of paragraphs and throwing them in here. Frankel, who's a member of Congress apparently, though not in the oversight committee, took the dais to question about the failures of local prosecution. She asked Coven, the attorney, who has put pressure on then state attorney Barry Kreischer. Coven said he knew Kreischer failed tremendous pushback, including the specter that he failed in the William Kennedy Smith case years before. In that case, the jury acquitted Kennedy family member of rape in 1991 because he was a rich boy. Rich boy gets off. Hey, rich boy can afford the real attorney to say, did you know she once wore a skirt in public? Hey, she was asking for it. Obviously, that was that. I remember it. My God, she had sex with other men. She definitely deserved it. You know, that kind of shit. Yeah. Again, I am so fed up with the Kennedy family. I cannot even express my disgust with them because they automatically think get shit just because they're a Kennedy. I'm sick of it. In addition, when the case was taken to the U.S. Attorney, I'm sick of it. Bobby Kennedy Jr. gets all kinds of he's a complete fucking idiot. It's like, you're a complete fucking idiot. You have no life accomplishments and you get to decide my health. Get the hell out of here, Bobby Kennedy Jr., you cokehead. Anyway, in addition to the case was taken U.S. Attorney in Miami, powerful Lega Eagles, including Roy Black, he's not around anymore, and Ken Starr, who also isn't around anymore, were brought in to assist Epstein. Two fascist lawyers were brought in to defend Jeffrey Epstein. What a shock. They all swarmed into Palm Beach County. Look at all the rich lawyers that were available to Jeffrey Epstein. Look at that, high profile. Oh, he couldn't possibly molested children. Let's give him house arrest. Disgusting. U.S. Rep. Suhas Subramanyam of Virginia elicited laughter when he asked the witnesses what the committee should ask former U.S. Attorney Pam Bondi when she appears this month. If she does, I doubt if she is.
Yeah.
Survivor Jen Lisa
She's still
Jones
alive?
suggests-
Have we checked on her?
Yeah. I'm sure she's collecting some kind of bribe money from somebody. Survivor Jen Lisa Jones suggested Blondie will be asked who was she protecting and why was it worth losing her job. Attorney Spencer Coven, who we just quoted earlier, who's an attorney and not a member of Congress. I'll point that out again. I thought he was a member of Congress. They should have identified him. Anyway, she suggested the committee probe Bondi over the existence of surveillance video from inside Epstein Mansion dating back to 2003. Also, Coven asked, where is the stash of photos Ghislaine Maxwell took over all these years? Coven pointed out, Maxwell photographed everything and everyone. They are not released even a fraction of all those photos. Where are they? While their fellow committee members had refrained from talk of partisan politics, Rep. Jasmine Crockett said she had no intention to do the same. The Republicans could have shown up today too. She said they didn't. She echoed the question posed time and again by Epstein survivors, what can I do to help? The answer is, Crockett said, is to vote. If you have to vote if you care about this. You have to vote and you have to understand who's fighting for you, she said. It's time to wake up. It's time for all to do it. Because again, I'm going to be partisan because only the Democrats decided to show up today. U.S. Rep. Maxwell Frost, an Orlando Democrat near his home district, questioned Rosa about her decision to come up to the United States to pursue a remodeling career. A modeling career. At that point, Frost said was that Epstein exploited a broken immigration system in order to carry out a sex trafficking ring. Frost also pointed that immigrant women are disproportionately preyed on by those who commit sexual crimes. Of course, you're so far away from your country. Who are you going to cry to? Who are you going to tell? Nobody. You're here illegally. So there's your quick story. It goes on for 25 minutes. I'm not going to read the whole thing.
Wow.
But what the down and dirty is, here's the Democrats looking for information, trying to find out why all of a sudden Jeffrey Epstein, Ken Starr is his attorney. Ken Starr? Ken Starr. If you don't know what Ken Starr is, he's the guy that decided to prosecute Bill Clinton for getting a BJ in the White House. So there's your fun little horrible horror story where it does not lend itself to limericks, but that's what you spun, unfortunately.
Well, my limericks are never funny, so it's okay.
There once was a man with a who wanted to do a lot
Palm
of
Beach. If you would like me to, would you like me to say my limerick? In
Yes, I
Palm
would. I
Beach,
was
where
making-
shadows still creep, secrets buried but they cannot keep, the committee will probe beneath corruption's old robe for truth's light they've determined to reap. Because you mentioned something about like corrupt investigations, right? Where they're like, we took some swabs. I don't know. Oh, we lost the swabs.
Don't forget,
Whoops.
Pam Blondie joined the local district attorney, and they basically just discontinued their child trafficking division. Just moved it out of the office, moved it over somewhere else. Which, why would you do that? You don't care about children trafficking all of a sudden? So yeah, Pam Blondie's got her hands in this from the start, from the old Epstein days, before anybody even knew who the fuck he was. She did, and she protected him.
Yep. Do you have another story, or was that it?
No, that was it, man. That was a long damn story. I had to cut it down. We don't want any more long ones, man. Friday's already long enough.
Mostly because we had an hour and a half of not even doing the show, but you know. Associate our next segue for my culture news. I only had 2 stories today because I had 2 long stories. I was like, I'm just only going to do 2. My nose is running. This This is my culture news from Theopharont on Euronews Culture. In the archives of a Roman library, researchers have made an astonishing discovery, a 9th century manuscript copy of the oldest known poem in the English language, missing until now. The lost copy of the Hymn of Caedmon was uncovered in the archives of the National Central Library of Rome. The author of the 9-line poem is said to have been a cowherd from Whitby in North Yorkshire, who was inspired after a divine visitation. The composition praising God for the creation of the world was composed in the 7th century and survived thanks to its inclusion in some copies of the ecclesiastical that is a word.
Ecclesiastical.
Thank you. I was like, it's supposed to be like the clergy. Yeah. Ecclesiastical history of the English people. An 8th century history of, that's your word for the day. Ecclesiastical. Ecclesiastical.
Ecclesiastical.
Put that in
on the spelling bee.
Spelling bee, yeah.
Anything to do with the Christian church. That's what it means.
Yeah.
There you go.
An 8th century history of England written in Latin by the Venerable Bede, a northern English monk and saint. But how did the poem end up in the Italian library? The story of how a piece of England's oldest literature found itself in an Italian library is, in its own way, as remarkable as the poem itself. The copy was made in the 19th century by a monk at Nonantula, a Benedict abbey in northern Italy, one of the great centers of medieval scholarship, who carefully described the text into a volume of Bede's ecclesiastical history. I already forgot to say the word. Then at some point, ecclesiastical. Then at some point, lost to time, the manuscript disappeared. It was presumed gone forever, buried or water destroyed or, just eaten by bookworms, until the copy was digitized and made available around the world by the Rome Library. The two Trinity College experts who made the discovery, Dr. Elisabetta Magnati and Dr. Mark Faulkner, studied the book from Dublin, thanks to the online digital copy. They traveled to Rome and finally got to handle the manuscript and see the ancient text for themselves. Yet again, this book was written in the 9th century, the original poem the 7th century. Bede's ecclesiastical history of the English people is one of the most widely copied works in the Middle Ages. And there was, I guess this is an Irish person, and there are almost 200 manuscripts, but the most famous are the earliest two, one of which is Cambridge, one in St. Petersburg, says Dr. Faulkner, an associate professor in the medieval literature at Trinity College, Dublin. Then there's a much smaller number of slightly later copies, of which this is one. We're talking a handful, maybe 5 or 6, and the fact that this has now been recognized as a copy will be very important for how we understand the transmission of Bede's text. That's like 2 centuries of a book existing, right? There's not a lot of books that you know of that are that much of a standard. Really not that there were a lot of books back then. There's also the libraries were probably not chock full of books. Yeah. 2 older copies of the text in Cambridge and St. Petersburg show the poem in Latin, with the Old English text added at the end of the edges of the pages in the margins. This newly discovered text is significant because the poem in Old English is presented within the main body of the Latin manuscript. The Rome manuscript is the earliest one to incorporate in the text. Prior to the discovery of the Rome manuscript, the earliest one was from the early 12th century. So this is 3 centuries earlier than that, and so it attests to the importance that was already being attached to the English in the early 9th century, said Faulkner. Reminder for anybody who doesn't know their history. English was not an official language, it was a vernacular. Vernacular meaning, a language people use locally.
Vernacular.
Yeah. So it was not a widespread global powerhouse like it is today. But I guess this proves how people are already using it because they put it in a book. They put a whole page of it in a book. The academic also points out that the unusual punctuation points or full stops, which is not present in the other version of Bede's history. This is the first early copy of Caedmon's hymn, discovered since the 1920s and the third oldest surviving text of the poem. This copy of the manuscript reveals important information about the transmission of Bede's text from Northumbria southward, with some textual variations. Not only is it a testimony to the presence of the English texts in Italy, it demonstrates pilgrimages and cross-cultural contact between England, Italy, and the Middle Ages. Dr. Andrea Cappa, the head of Manuscripts and Rare Books Reading Room, National Central Library of Rome, says this is part of a broader project that the library has been carrying with the aim of making it possible for everybody around the world to access the vast collection of thousands of rare books the library has. The discovery made by the experts of Trinity College is just one starting point, a single manuscript that might pave the way for countless other discoveries in countless other fields through international cooperation like this, collaboration among diverse experts working as a team, he says. So there it is, old book, or I should say old poem, about being sheep herder in the 7th century.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I guess I will associate with this trying to read old manuscripts, like old things. Like I got these old, like remember when you visited Taymouth Castle in Scotland, right? And there's like old manuscript that I bought online. It's like, oh, there's be some secrets, right? The Black Book of the Taymouth, whatever. Impossible to read. It's written in some language I don't get. The letters form different. If you look at even the United States Constitution, the letters aren't the same. Like Congress, the S is at the end of Congress look like an F. Like Congress is what it looks like.
How they wrote the letters are different, yeah.
If things are written in cursive, it's impossible to even know what they're, unless you're taking a course in, archaic writing, you're not going to be able to interpret it. Hey, well, that's one of my associations. And of course, this guy was a poet and he did know it, but he didn't get to show it. Haha. Anyway. There you go. My stupid little
your joke and your associate, yeah.
Yeah. How do you read old manuscripts? You got to go to school to learn what all those letters actually mean.
You do, yeah. You have to learn this stuff. I mean, I have a kind of normalized edition of what it would look like in how we write, and it's still incredibly hard to understand. It literally says "Nu Salun Hergan Ethernit Case Uart Methodes Makti," and maybe this is the English and this is the Italian, the Latin. No. Melodies Makti and his Modogdank. That's a hard word.
I did have some sarcasm for this. Do you want to hear it?
What is it?
This poem, roughly translates to "Bing Bang Boom, let's go to my room." Anyway, that's my little sarcasm.
Modern English translation is "Guardian of Heaven, whom we come to praise, who mapped creation in thoughts sinews. Glory Father, who worked out each wonder, began with broad earth, a gift for his children. First roofed in with heaven, the holy shaper established it forever as in the beginning. Called it Middle Kingdom, fenced it with angels, created a habitation for man to praise his splendor." None of it really rhymes, and there's not a single word in here that is exact same as modern English.
Right.
Like even the word.
Again, that's one translation. That's one translation. I'm going with mine. He was just, it was the first, it was the first pickup line.
I'm looking at the Old English and the modern English is there's seriously not a single word that is the same. Even the word "end" does not appear in the English translation. The word "end" is probably it means something else. Yeah.
Shakespeare has not come along to say.
Old English is actually closer to Frisian, which is a modern language now, than it is to actual English. It's closer to Frisian than it's actual, modern English. But anyways.
And they tell us And they try to tell us they interpreted the Bible accurately, right? All them documents,
yeah,
right?
and it's in Hebrew, right?
Sure you did. Hebrew or Greek. 495 in this day. Oh, you did spin the wheel. Spin the wheel.
Alliteration headline. There we go. Now you can take us to this day in history.
Got ahead of myself. We bring this train in to the station. You got alliteration. That sucked. You got that yesterday on the day in history. On this day in 4095 BC, on the Aventine Hill in Rome, the temple of the Roman god Mercury was dedicated. Yes, Mercury. He was the one that could fly, no? 1859, Pierre Curie, co-winner with his wife Marie, was born in Paris. He won the Nobel Prize in 1903. They discovered radium, which killed them. In 1885, Louis Riel surrendered after leading 2 rebellions against the Canadian government in response to its efforts to assume the territorial rights to Hudson Bay's company in northwestern Canada. And we found out the other day Hudson Bay has the lowest gravity on Earth, so it's really important. Good place to try to learn to fly, I think. 1886, Emily Dickinson died in Amherst, Massachusetts. She was a poet, we're talking about poetry, commanded a singular brilliance of style and integrity of vision in her poetry. Doesn't say how old she was. 1914, Tenzing Norgay, Norway, who with Edmund Hillary was the first person to stand atop the summit of Mount Everest, was born in Sekchu, Tibet. He was a Sherpa. I'm sure he's probably not around anymore. This was 1914. 1918, the first regular airmail route in the United States opened between New York City and Washington, D.C. Now we get there a lot faster. 1940, nylon stockings first went on sale to the general public. American stores sold out in days. Oh, yeah. 1940, San Bernardino, California, brothers Maurice and Richard McDonald opened a drive-in restaurant that gave rise to the fast food chain. Anybody? Wendy's. No, just McDonald's, of course. 1969, Abe Fortas became the first U.S. Supreme Court justice to resign under threats of impeachment. Back when the Supreme Court had integrity, that went way by the board a long time ago. Supreme Court is now just a rubber stamp for oligarchs. That's all it is. 1972, George Wallace, virulent racist, was shot on this day in 1972. Known for his staunch segregationist views, was shot and left permanently paralyzed below the waist in an assassination attempt. He was running for president at the time. He was out campaigning, I want to be president! And instead of stealing votes from Nixon, he dropped out of the race, and Nixon won in a landslide. So, just a fucking terrible time. 72 is a terrible year. 1991, Edith Cresson of the Socialist Party became the first female premier of France. I have not heard of Edith Cresson. That was 1991. Our sad day in history, in music history, singer and songwriter June Carter Cash died in Nashville. She was married to Johnny Cash, who died later that year. She was a leading figure in country music. Her family, her mother and father started country music, basically, the Carter family, and her husband, Johnny Cash. Anyway, she married Johnny Cash, and then in this day in 2003, 23 years ago, June Carter Cash passed away. Johnny passed away later that year. So I already covered that. Our featured event, Mickey Mouse. Mickey and Minnie make their first appearance 98 years ago today, 1928. Two of the most recognizable characters in animation history made their first appearance. Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse are the protagonists of Plain Crazy, a short film created by Walt Disney and the UBI Works that involves around Mickey attempting to pilot a homemade airplane while romancing Minnie. The film was screened only as a silent test, though, and failed to secure distribution until 1929, after Mickey made his public debut as Steamboat Willie. And again, I guess it's historic in the animation world and all that stuff, but man, I just Never understood the charm of Mickey Mouse. Never got it. Never understood it. Never thought he was funny or interesting. I was like, whoa, this is just dumb. Why do people like this? Anyway, our featured buyer is Marilyn Albright. Marilyn Albright, the first female Secretary of State in the history of the United States, born May 15th, 1937 in Prague. She died in Washington 3 years ago at the age of 84. 4 years ago, March 23rd, 2022, sorry. Other birthdays today, Brian Eno, British musician and producer, Roxy Music. Emmett Smith, American football player, born in 1969. Brian Eno, 1948, so he's turning 78. Ray Lewis, American football player, is turning 51. And Andy Murray, Scottish tennis player who's won a couple of majors, I think. Scottish tennis player, born in 1987. He's turning 40. Not even 40, 39. He's only 39. Okay, so he's not even 40 yet. So Andy Murray's still a pup. And our national days today, we shouted them out yesterday by accident. So we're going to do the ongoing national month, which is the national month. It's National Mental Health Awareness Month. It's National Get Caught Reading Month. It's Older Americans Month. It's National Public Works Week. It is National Police Week. Public Works and Police kind of go together. You do pay their salary after all. We'll go ahead and repeat the days. National Defense Transportation Day. It's NASCAR Day. National Bike to Work Day. National Peace Officers Memorial Day. Malcolm X Day. National Endangered Species Day. National Nylon Stocking Day, which we talked about nylon going on sale and being sold out in 4 days. National Pizza Party Day, National Chocolate Chip Day, Bring Someone Flowers to Work Day, and I am totally exhausted. That's all the things it is today. There's your mispronunciations, lots of those, your news dump, your technical glitches, your limericks, your puns, for everything. Friday, May 15th, 2026, on Before Chocolate Chips and your work pizza.
Work pizza.
Pizza party. Pizza party.
Pizza
They're gonna
pie.
get you that
Pizza
awful
pie.
pizza.
Pizza pie. My alliteration headlines today are Mickey and Minnie's magical maiden moment marks the marvelous milestone.
Whoa.
Easy there, Mickey and Minnie. Eno's ethereal echoes effortlessly enrich the evolving ensemble of 80s empires. You probably, if you don't know Brian Eno, you probably know all those songs, or the songs he worked on. Passionately promote the protection of precious, perilously at-risk populations, or endangered species, or
I love a pea popping.
Yeah,
I love a pea popping. Liberation.
For our lovely Friday news dump, we have International Day of Families. Hey, I have one of those. Whether it's your found family or a real family, celebrate people supporting you because, and I don't know if I need to tell you this, you need to hear this from me, there is not a single person in this world who has pulled themselves up from the bootstraps. Elon Musk, money from his dad. Me,
yeah,
I got money from my dad. Everyone has money from somebody, okay? They have help physically, mentally, monetarily, I don't know. Everyone needs help, everyone. So celebrate your family. Celebrate equality and child well-being in families, as in don't just put it on one person. You did the deed, so you better fucking help out. That's all I gotta say. Celebrate International Day of Families. And on Saturday, it's International Day of Living Together in Peace. I don't know what else I need to say about that. It's right there.
We ain't doing that.
Through dialogue, inclusion, and reconciliation. Yes, we know people have done bad things to you. Find out a way for them to pay you back. Get your own justice. Don't continue the cycle of violence. It's also International Day of Light tomorrow. On UNESCO, it's celebrated on the 16th of May each year. On the anniversary of the first successful laser operation in the 1960s by physicist and engineer Theodore Maiman, which we probably would talk about if we did this show on Saturday, it's led to a promising alternative to energy sources. I mean, the only reason we even know we can capture the sun for energy is probably because of this study of light. and what it can do and how it has power.
The light spectrum. Yes, sir.
Exactly. On Sunday, it is World Telecommunication Information Society Day. Hey, that's what we're doing. Strengthening our digital lifelines for a resilient and connected world. Don't let anybody take us back to the Middle Ages where we can't read and we only know what's happening in the next town over. We're able to know that there's an earthquake happening
Can't be anything
as soon as
else.
it happens in Indonesia. Okay? Because we have telecommunication. Don't stay in your bubble. Go out there and explore what's happening in society through our digital connected world. And that's all today is for today and the weekend.
Thank you.
We will see you on Monday for Mucking Fun Day, in which we will tell you all the news you might have missed over the weekend. So do not doom scroll. You're not allowed. Go outside and touch some grass. Thank you everyone who was here today for the live stream, for following Before Coffee Podcast on Twitch, or subscribing to Before Coffee Podcast on YouTube. If you're not doing that, do that now. And turn on those notifications so you know when we go live and post a video. And we appreciate all of our Patreon supporters on the Before Coffee Podcast tier. Here is our CBS mic drop moment.
Welcome back, everybody. Dave, would you mind telling the folks out there watching TV where we are right now?
This is like being back home for me. We are on the roof of the Ed Sullivan Theater building.
Did you start at 10?
Be happier.
It's a beautiful view from up
We
here.
are watching the video.
Why we are on the roof of the Ed Sullivan?
Did you start it
I
at
thought
10?
maybe tonight's
That's what I asked
occasion
you.
would be a little sad, being the end of your run
You're
here.
talking
but
over the
this
video
brings
now.
True joy to my heart. We are up here for the wanton
Did you start it at the
destruction of CBS
beginning or at
property.
the 10-second mark is what I'm
I
asking.
followed your instructions because I'm not stupid and I'm
This
not
is a
deaf.
true story. When I first got this gig, one of the first things they
Didn't
told
answer
me
my
before we
question.
even
That's
moved into
cool.
the offices is that I would not be allowed to throw anything off of the roof of the Ed Sullivan building because evidently there was a problem with
Why?
a previous tenant.
Yes,
Previous
I'm
tenant.
so excited
Well,
about
he
this.
did it. Yeah, okay.
All right, so I was never allowed to do this.
You
but
never did it in all the time you
I
were on
never
here?
did it.
This
but
is
we're at
David
the end
Letterman's
here,
original
so,
show, by the way.
all bets are off.
Nobody had this show
Yes,
before.
for
David
anybody who
Letterman.
doesn't,
Right.
for anybody who doesn't know, he's the one who started the whole, the branding of it. Yeah.
He owns the name. David Letterman owns the name
Oh, I
Daily
thought they were
Show.
gonna throw the chairs, but they're just standing on the
100%,
chairs.
Okay, anytime you're ready, Stephen.
All right.
They're
Oh, no, they're
throwing
throwing the
them.
chairs.
Guys,
Oh, they're throwing the
before we do
chairs.
this,
They're throwing
Dave,
everything.
I think we should
They're
have
throwing
a target,
everything.
don't you?
Right down there, my
good
friend.
point.
Something circular, like a
Right
bullseye?
down there, yeah.
What do we got?
Yeah. It's all fun
Ha!
until somebody puts out an eye.
There's an eye to
Yeah.
put out.
That'll
Hope
do.
we're on the same
There.
page.
There we go. Get ready. Oh, my God.
Missed completely.
Oh, they missed.
We missed the target, but still,
All right, you're a
that's
couple
done.
seconds ahead of me.
Don't
like
worry,
I thought.
Dave. We brought a spare.
I'm a couple seconds ahead of you because I probably
Let's think about
started
what
it.
happened last time.
Yeah,
How are
quicker
you
than you
doing?
did.
No, I'm ahead of you.
This always happens. I don't know why you're complaining about the desync when it happens
Yeah, you
every
just don't
time.
just drop.
I wouldn't. I
I'm
would
not
just
complaining
go straight down.
at all.
Let's show.
I don't know
That'd
why
be a
you think
shame
every
if
time I
this
talk
This
man
it's
man knows
the
what he's
eye.
doing. What's your advice?
I say just look out for the wind. And
Unnecessary
keep it closer to the
comment.
building.
Watch the wind.
I just
Yeah.
wanted to sync up. That's all.
There we go.
Fault me for that.
Yes!
Oh, doing it. They did it. Oh, it's like a pinata.
It's unbelievable.
Direct
isn't it?
hit.
Devon, can we see that again in slow motion?
But I don't
It's
think
full of
that's
gumballs, too.
candy.
It's gumballs. It's bouncy balls from the bouncy house.
Also, we have a Dave. Do you want?
The CBS bouncy house.
Lighter.
Now, this is yours.
It's a
This
ball
is my
pit.
desk chair.
This is
All right,
his.
we'll
Oh,
say
this is
goodbye,
his
my
desk
friend.
chair.
All right.
Okay.
How many hours have you and your ass spent in that chair?
Oh,
He's got to stand up the
Oh,
rest
it's
of
the
the
same chair as
next
me.
week.
810
It's a different model.
shows.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Hard to believe that it's such a cheap
Comfortable
chair
Give it a
for
go.
1,000 some
You know
shows.
it's cheap.
My way.
Your
I
way?
think we're- are
Oh,
we
yeah,
on
there you go.
target?
How do you know it's cheap?
No,
Did you
just
look
look
up how
like
much it cost? It cost to
That's
buy it.
store-bought one I could get without, you know,
Oh,
one price fits
when
the
you
whole
get,
chair.
when do you buy
Give me
chairs
break.
at the store? You just get them set designed, I guess. Yeah.
They probably just came with the frickin' offers, you know?
Melon, that's always fun.
It's not
All right, let's do it,
David
Letterman.
Letterman's-
Melons.
The original David
Here we
Letterman
go.
show, he would drop watermelons off a tower. That was his original show.
Oh,
Yeah.
there you go. That's fun.
If we miss.
If you don't remember the original
Yeah,
David
let's
Letterman
ignore
show,
the
this
target.
was the feature of the show.
Ready?
Dropping
Yeah.
stuff
Okay.
off a
Let's not
17-story
hit
tower.
it.
Yeah, fireworks.
Yes!
Yeah. It looks just like
It
fireworks.
is like the 4th of July.
shit.
It's a thing of
man knows
beauty.
it
Feed
is.
the pigeons.
All right, again.
All right.
It's free
I'm gonna go
fireworks,
high.
everybody.
You're gonna go high out, you mean?
Watermelons are
far out.
relatively
All right,
cheap.
I'll join you. I'm
I'm
gonna
going
go to the
season.
far
main
out.
Okay.
Watermelons are already in
Saying.
season.
Hopes it's
So.
not a
Yeah,
man.
hope the pigeons get some food. What's so
three.
bad about that?
Yeah.
Boom! Oh, just like
Like
fireworks.
fireworks,
Right?
isn't it?
Galileo would be proud. All right.
Galileo.
I sent over one last thing.
Oh, this
For
is
both of us
this
to
is very
enjoy.
thoughtful of them.
Yeah.
The Late
That's sweet.
Show, 1993 to 2026. So how many years is
Aw.
No way of knowing.
No way of
that?
knowing.
All years, my friend.
No way of knowing.
Bye.
Nice, perfect
Wow.
landing.
The
Right on top.
aerodynamics of wedding cake, not to be believed. Whoa, what a day for
Yeah,
a
mix
walk.
it. It went top
sir.
top up.
Thanks so much for creating the
Or
Late
top down, I
Show
should
3
say.
years ago. It's been a pleasure having you back to
No, the
destroy
pleasure-
some stuff.
The pleasure is all mine. I enjoyed destroying stuff. It's great, great fun. Thank you for everything you've done for our country.
And see you on the
Feelings
podcast.
mutual, Dave. Thank you.
For anybody who doesn't know, Letterman just made a podcast after he went off.
Well, not
I think
necessarily
he took
for
like
the
maybe
audience,
like a
but for the
3-year
folks at
sabbatical, and then he
CBS
was like,
and
time
words
to
of
make a
great Ed
podcast.
Murrow. Good night and
He has a
good luck.
podcast. He has a TV show.
Dave Letterman, everybody.
There's a TV show on
We'll be
Netflix.
right back with the Strokes.
He has a show called My
awesome.
Next Guest Needs No Introduction. There goes the cake! In slow-mo. Right at the last second, it turns. I love how it just turns like a parachute. Bam! That was perfect, man. Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons. And follow our other channels, Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old Records.